Welcome back, my students, to a brand new episode of Comic Class. In today's lesson, as we're going over the Amazing Spider-Man issue 42, The Birth of a Superhero. And yeah, as you can tell from the cover, we have John Jameson basically fighting against Spider-Man. Without spoiling too much, this is going to be a very interesting story, very interesting issue. So without further ado, let's jump right into today's story. Let's go. So this story basically starts off with Peter basically being seemingly robbing from a bank, and he basically throws this sack of money, this bag of money, into the water. And Foswell basically is excited because J. Jonah Jameson will be very happy to see that Spider-Man has finally become a true criminal. Now John basically is talking to J. Jonah Jameson when they find out about Spider-Man basically committing this crime in person, and a ton of witnesses seeing it. And John's body starts mutating, and he starts, pushing on a pillar, and it basically just crushes it like nothing. And this thing was a metal pillar, and it crushed, like you said, like a toothpick. So it's crazy how strong this mutation is making John. And John, after hearing J. Jonah Jameson saying that he wants Spider-Man captured, that he should go after someone like Spider-Man, he basically goes off and he tries to fight against Spider-Man. And he is given this like suit to kind of like be able to kind of like control his strength and not just completely destroy everything. And yeah, and they even tell him that he might be able to become a superhero, which freaks out J. Jonah Jameson because he's been putting a lot of hit pieces on superheroes. So his son being a superhero would really look bad for him. He tries to justify this by saying that his son is a really good superhero and not a fake like Spider-Man and people like that. So that's really funny. How he tries to spin that. And we get to see what's happening with the Rhino from the last issue. The Rhino is basically being experimented on, or they're trying to take his suit off of him, the scientists, and they just cannot do it. And the Rhino is given to a judge. Basically, a judge is trying to get him to have a good lawyer to basically try to fight for him. So that's really interesting. While that's all going on in the legal side, the Rhino basically wakes up and he starts attacking people, and he gets himself out of that scientific place, or he tries to, when they use like some type of like mist, like gas, to basically get him to fall asleep. And this actually works and puts him down for a bit. So while that's going on, we get to see that Peter has a talk with Gwen Stacy, and he was offered to go out with her and Harry and Flash, I believe, to like some type of party that they're having at her house. And he remembers that he has to go and meet Mary Jane at their dinner party tonight, so he has to like decline. So Gwen's not happy about this, and Flash and Harry basically think that he's like ditching them, basically like not wanting to be with them. So that's really funny, and this is a very common trope that we're seeing in a lot of these stories. But this will all get fixed, I'm guessing, future when they become friends, as we know they will. So Peter gets to his Spider-Man outfit when he sees that J. Jonah Jameson, not J. Jonah Jameson, his son John Jameson, basically is in the city. He's wearing this suit, and he gets into a fight with him, and he's able to trade blows with Spider-Man, snap his webbing, as all of Spider-Man's strong foes are able to do. And yeah, he basically destroys this entire wall of concrete, and it gets a really cool panel where Spider-Man webs all the concrete blocks and just slams them into John, which is so cool. He also tries to spray John's face, and he just knocks him into the ground, just like he did with the Rhino in their battle that the Rhino had in the last issue with Spider-Man. And it's revealed to us by Spider-Man's dialogue, in his mind, that the guy that had put the bag that he had thrown in the beginning of the issue was actually a bomb. So he had to work fast, break through the iron bars, and grab the bag and get it to the ocean before it could blow up. So this will get clarified, of course, at the end of the issue, and Spider-Man definitely will be cleared of all charges. But yeah, so that's really cool. Now we get to see that John basically goes back to J. Jonah Jameson, and they're basically like in an apartment with his guards basically watching over them. And John's mind is being corrupted by this mutation that he had gotten from space. So he basically loses his cool and says he has to go and defeat Spider-Man and destroy him, basically. So he basically goes out, pushes his guards out to the side like they're nothing, and he goes out to fight Spider-Man again. So Spider-Man has another confrontation with John, and they have a battle with each other, and it's a really cool action sequence between the two. Eventually, Spider-Man realizes that he needs to shock some sense into John, and he gets him to be electrocuted by like these like things that are shooting electricity. I think they're like some type of machines. And yeah, so it's really cool. And we get to see that Spider-Man's using his science to basically try to like defeat John. I guess trying to overload what's causing his corruption in his mind. And he basically knocks him out by doing this, and basically leaves him. And we do see that John basically has gone back to normal after this, so it basically zaps some sense into him and fits whatever was corrupting his mind. Now, the issue ends with Peter and Aunt May basically going to their house, and Mary Jane isn't there when he arrives, so they're basically just there. Peter's like sitting on the couch or something. When finally, Aunt May and Aunt Anna are basically at the dinner table already, ready to eat, and there's a ring at the door, and when Aunt Anna basically goes to open it, Peter goes to meet Mary Jane, and Mary Jane is there. Mary Jane basically looks like a supermodel, and Peter's basically surprised with Mary Jane saying the famous tagline for her character, "Face the tiger, you just hit the jackpot," and that's how the issue ends. And yeah, we'll get to see Peter's interaction with Mary Jane in the next issue. And yeah, that was the Amazing Spider-Man issue 42, The Birth of a Superhero. Overall, solid issue yet again by John Romita and Stan Lee. Very good writing and art combination with these two. They made gold. Yet again, very good, solid read. It's not one of the greatest issues, but that ending definitely is one of the most iconic set of panels of all time. So, a page, I guess you could say, the entire page is iconic, with that final panel of Mary Jane basically being the most iconic all these years later. For people like me that read for the first time, like 50 or 60 years after it was released. Crazy that it's still so good after all these years. And yeah, overall, I do recommend you go check it out. And the link will be down in the description down below to check out on Comixology/Amazon. And yeah, there's not much more to say. I will see you guys on the next issue review as we take a look at issue 43, which will be the return of the Rhino and the whole plot line of him wanting John. I believe he gets explained why he wants John in the next issue. And yeah, it's going to be really interesting. Can't wait to see you guys there. Until next video, God bless you. Until next lesson, keep on reading those comments.